Hello everyone, how you doing? Thank you as always for popping by and interacting. Now, February the 1st, I shared with you an article about the cover-ups in the Jehovah's Witness faith, the cover-ups with the child abuse problems and the devastating results, plus an insight into their legal system. I'll put a link to the original article in the description box of this video, just in case anyone's missed it. But I wanted to look at reactions because that's a very important part of it as well. So I'm on the UC Observer's page and scrolled right down to the comments. Now, this is interesting. This is something that I've missed. It says Reader's Advisory, and obviously they do moderate the comments, and that's really good. They reserve the right to edit, reject, and for clarity and accuracy. Now, also, your comments, if they're good, they may be published in the print edition of the magazine. So you can see how this can spread out and important information, important facts to people. And they post, so obviously through the moderators, from 9:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. I don't know what time zone they're in. Is in North America or Canada somewhere. Oh gosh, I've gone really stupid in my brain again. So whatever their time zone is. So it's going to be interesting. We'll go from the oldest to the newest. Some of the apologists on here, they're going to be familiar to us. Let the wider world see this. Let the wider world see this and form their own opinions about apologists, okay? So Bob Thompson, he's supportive of it, you know, and also says shunning. We have John, he's got marked down. Now, this is interesting. This is very typical of what the comments that I've had on my channel. Sad in this day in age, I think it means and age, where people are being applauded for abdicating their rights to report their abuse to an organisation and later blame the organisation, and parents are being let off the hook for failing to protect their own damn children. But who cares about that? Deeper pockets are at play here. So this person is saying, if you look at the last sentence, this is about money. No. This is the absolute ignorance. Absolute. You see, before if he wants to make that sort of point, like a normal person, a healthy person would say, child abuse exists. It is very damaging. It can ruin people's lives. It causes depression, suicide. I mean, it's awful what can happen. What can happen? And sorting out the mess and trying to live after the mess, do you believe me? That takes money. Don't I know it? None of that. It's just criticizing. So 5 people came out in this article, at least 5, if not more, and spoke out horrific things. And I don't understand their rights to report their abuse to an organisation. But they did report, that's the whole point. He must be a J-dub because he said organisation. That's their word, isn't it? That is their word for it. Parents are being let off the hook for failing to protect their own damn children. Well, what if it is, as pointed out, did he not read the article, when it's parents themselves doing the abuse? And one has to understand how Watchtower works. They have threatened again and again different people all around the world who, before the days of the internet, didn't know what was happening, have reported again, reported in courts, reported with their faces on screen. Imagine the courage that takes. Have reported that they were threatened with being disfellowshipped if they reported it. And when they have reported it as adults, guess what? They have been disfellowshipped. So, John, you are talking out your rear. Thank you, as always, as all you apologists do, Never a word. Sometimes I've nagged at them for weeks, and you might get a begrudging sentence. There's never a word for people who have been abused. And actually, statistically, it's been looked at the amount of false accusations are tiny, tiny, tiny. And in actual fact, the weight of cases is far more than anyone knows, because of the opportunity and or lack of opportunity, I mean, and the trauma, the absolute trauma. And people can be in a lot of danger when they start reporting, as all this trauma comes to the surface. So you, John, are sick. You are sick. And you're saying people do that for money. You are the problem. You are part of the problem. So we have a reply from Rhoda Withers. A religious organisation that only a few short years ago regularly criticised the churches of Christendom over child abuse travesties is now silent about those churches. We all saw them. They salivated. The Watchtower salivated about the Catholic Church. And yes, the Catholic Church sucks. I know there's good people in it. I know people get some comfort from it. But my father's Irish, and in his childhood, they had a stranglehold and everything. And the abuse that the Catholic Church heaped upon that country is incredible. It's incredible. And they're sorting it out now. A wonderful nation of people. Really, really lovely. And all the time new things are uncovered. And people don't bother now much with the Catholic Church. There is tradition, there is community, there are some lovely priests going around. But now, whereas Ireland wishes to export priests, they're importing priests now from elsewhere because they just don't have them anymore. So, no one's saying that the Catholic Church have clean hands. It's always the J-dub thing. But what about the Catholic Church? No one's saying anything about that. I've moaned about the Catholic Church on and on for years, horrified, deeply distressed, and not kept my mouth shut, as I'm sure you can imagine. But we're talking about the hypocrisy. Nothing on their website. It says, go to jw.org, nothing on the website. There's lies, there's absolute demonstrable lies on their broadcasts. Australian Royal Commission inquiry into the JW's predator protecting two-witness rule. Dominic says, and it is to point that when they were criticising the Christendom, they were fully aware what was going on inside their own organisation in regards of child sexual abuse. What is that if it's not hypocrisy? What an example from an organisation that claimed serving spiritual food. John says, there is nothing on jw.org about the many dismissed, dropped, settled cases against it either. No! John! Oh! I'm going to stop because I'm going to bite something. Hi, I'm back. I'm not going to edit out reactions. I am actually harmless in real life, but I do get very upset. And the anger is it's the flip side of the coin to the tears and the distress at it. Trying to be calmer, made a cuppa. Well, I'm British, what do you expect? So I'll put my bowler hat on. I'm British, what do you expect? Right, John, let's have at ya. John is not a freak. For anyone who's new to this, John is not some random freak. This is classic J-Dub land. So he says about nothing on J-Dub.org about the many dismissed, dropped, settled cases against it either. No, they wouldn't, because, do you know, actually, settled cases actually show J-Dubs in a very bad light. Anyone can go to 2017, look at the Fessler case. What they put that victim through. Denying everything, and some of the lawyers were J-Dubs, and they have very good legal departments. Jehovah's Witnesses have made legal history. Look up the First Amendment rights. There's a lot in the press this week about it, about how they change things. They've had some hot lawyers, and they have the money to hire outside lawyers. So in the Fessler case, some of the lawyers were Jehovah's Witnesses, and those lawyers lied. You can see the court transcripts. And you know what broke the case? Oh, they were so rude and insulting when cross-examining the victim. Do you know what settled it? The abuser came out and gave evidence on stage. On the, what do you call it, the rostromy thing? I can't think. And said, yeah, I did it, and yes, this happened. And you know what happened when that settled case? The lawyers then bundled into a corner and settled. And there's always gag clauses, always. It's just happened again. Just happened, the campus case. Is it? Sorry, I get a bit mixed up with names. The other one that's just happened in San Diego. They're settled. And what do you expect victims to do? How much can they endure? Because Watchtower puts them through 3 years of it. Candace Conti could have settled, and the same thing. She decided to take it further, and she didn't ask for much money, actually. It was the courts that awarded her far more money. She had a symbolic number that was around the $144,000, but it wasn't as much as $144,000, I don't think. But that was the number she picked on symbolically. And the courts decided she should have more. Now, watch another tactic with J-dubs is there's never any proof. They say these things with such authority. I mean, they've learned that tactic, obviously, haven't they, from Watchtower. And if they do provide a bit of proof, you look at it and it's like, pardon me? And you can break it down within minutes. So see how much evidence this guy gives. Remember, he's talking about, if you look at this article, heartbreaking things. A woman abused from the age of 10 months old. Another one where the courts have put a restraining order on the father to keep him away. And when the mother tried to leave the abusive father, the elders were going to disfellowship her. No. John, you don't want to know. If you don't think it happens, how do you think, John, and the rest of you, how do you think this abuse happens? It happens and continues because you won't believe it's happening. If we go, la la la, stick our fingers in the air, la 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 la, I can't hear, oh no, I love Jehovah, I love the organisation, no, never do anything wrong. It's going to keep happening. It's your children we're trying to protect. Don't you get it? It's not our children. I don't have to worry about the children that I love. You should be worrying about yours. Because someone needs to, if you're not. And actually there is, as said in the article, there is a broader implication. Not where I live, because J-dubs are, it's like trying to find a leprechaun or something, and they're just not around. But actually in communities, children are at risk from J-dubs because they're left to go out on the doors, and the elders know that I've been going so long at the RANT, turned itself off. I'm waving my arms around like anything. Look, okay, I know loads of people would have switched off by here, but, sometimes things have to be damn well said. And this guy is so damn typical. Where were we? This guy is typical. So they are, other communities where they're out in the doors, they are a damn danger. Look at the elder that's just been sentenced this month. Oh, sorry, January 2018, Long Beach. He was a teacher, a damned teacher, and the elders knew. The elders knew, but no, there weren't two witnesses, and the guy was able to carry on damn well teaching. What? And it wasn't till the victim then got to be a young man and then could go and report it. God, it must have taken him a lot of strength to do it. And relax. Anyhow, and relax the historical. My mates and family know me so well. It's like, oh, she's off again. I've been like this all my life. Surprised? Anyhow, the historical inability of plaintiffs to get guilty verdicts in US courts in particular speaks to the fact that those accusations of cover-up have little or no merit. Sorry? Have you got any statistics for this? Where's the evidence? We're just going to take it on you, Mr. John, who's who's got this first name made up and a little grey. You got a grey head apparently with no features. We're going to take that. Oh, it's really good defence. Great defence of your faith, John. Well done. Well done. But it is the sort of defence that we've come to expect. And there he is again. The lawyers are making out big. Yes, so much for protecting children. He's accusing things of money. Did you see any words? Did you see any words of support for those who whose cases have been, gone through? Did you? And there have been findings? All the people where the abusers have confessed? All the statistics? It lays them out in the report? The Australian statistics and percentages? Hello, John? No, you stink. That was mature and grown up. Hang on. Just be glad you don't have to put up with me in real life. I'm famous for getting impassioned. Can't help it. I'm so old now, it's not going to change. Bob. Hello, Bob. Oh, he's got marked down -5. Oh, Bob, what you been up to, kid? So at this point, these are only accusations that are unproven. Bob? Sorry, I'm sorry, I'm just looking underneath my phone now. No, can I see any evidence? No, Bob. No, what about the woman who, their whole family has been assessed by a psychologist for the courts, and the father, had to keep away, has got this restraining order, and also the father, even by the J-Dub's rulings, he's guilty because he went on to do it to harass other women, adult women. So that's rubbish, Bob. I mean, on what accusations? And all the ones that are proven, hello? He's talking, anyone reading that who doesn't know is going to think, oh, well, that's fair enough. No, Bob. I noticed you stayed away, like these people will stay away from the facts. A lot based on hearsay and what someone allegedly said or did in the past. Well, I don't know about you guys. I really, really want to make that sort of accusation about someone. Ugh. I mean, people want to go to trauma therapy for years. People want to get all these anxiety disorders that they haven't been able to leave the house for years. What about those things, Bob? What about those things, Bob? And are you going to say any words for all the cases that have been proven? Are you saying any words of support? Oh no, look. Cal surprise. And he talks the organisation. When they say organisation, they're trying not to sound J-dubby and was my religion and they're good and all this. No, but they give themselves away by the language. Who else would call Jehovah's Witness organisation? They wouldn't. So, Bob, a lot based on hearsay, really? Well, it's not according to even the Jehovah's Witnesses. So you want to say differently against your own organisation? Oh, that's apostasy, Bob. Other people have got disfellowship for far less, kiddo. The organisation isn't responding, which is logical. Is it? Is it? So as of now, there are mere allegations, no, Bob? No one has ever been able to prove a cover-up. The ARC was merely a legislative hearing for improving laws. Bob, thou needs to look at the paperwork, Bob. You really need to look properly, because it's there, Bob. And it was there even in this article. What did I was saying, I had been quoting 58% of the people were confessed. But it was in the article, they were 57%. I can't do maths. So I apologise to everyone that I exaggerated everything by 1%. I'm going to be accurate on this stuff, mate. the Jehovah's Witnesses were called back a second time because they were so bad. Others weren't called back. It's only a few were called back a second time. And they were the top 10 of rubbish religions for looking after children. Wow, but the thing is, but particularly with the J-dubs, that is so difficult for people to understand, is the stranglehold of the mind and circumstance, the isolation that happens for people who are Jehovah's Witnesses and for children who are totally encompassed by that. And how, I mean, everything, this is God. If you speak out against what the elders tell you, you are talking out against God, because Watchtower put, I'm be saying this to loads of people who know what's what, but in case there's new people, Watchtower and God are the same. If you criticize Watchtower, you can hear all the disfellowshipping tapes. If you criticize Watchtower, they tell you are criticizing God. Oh yes. So excited again because I'm wobbling my hand about. Oh yes. And they were so bad they were called back. So Bob, could you actually, were there any proofs in what you're saying there? Any proofs, Bob? Did you take any points in the article and break them down? No, you didn't. It was not a court case. No, it wasn't. Because if it were, Jeffrey Jackson would have been in for lying, wouldn't he? So there is no guilty or innocent, all impossible. Believe whatever you want otherwise. Well, it's not about belief systems. It's about facts, Mr. Bob. It's about facts. I don't know why that blue bit's come up. Go away. It's about facts. Okay, and you haven't provided any. We're not talking about belief systems. Reply from Roddy, I don't know. Note for note almost exactly what other churches have said in defence of sex abuse allegations over the years. One would expect a religious organisation that claims to be the one channel of truth on earth and has been a cogent critic of other churches' failures and cover-ups in this area will be more forthcoming and cooperative with the secular authorities. And I pointed out in some of my videos that I bored everyone to death with, the difference at this moment between Watchtower and other religions. Because others, do you know what? They're apologising. They're publicly apologising to their victims. And that includes the Catholic Church. And yes, the Catholic Church still has a damn long way to go. The Uniting Churches of Australia, they have publicly apologised. Do you know what? And what do Watchtower say? No, we haven't got a problem. I actually quote from Stephen Lett, one of the bosses. Apparently the abuse is apostate lies. So I'd like a J-Dub to defend that. What's Natasha up to? Thanks for this article. The world has to know. As a victim myself, not in this country, so I'm sorry, Natasha, I can say it is worldwide in that organisation. The shunning, the blood doctrine, etc., are horrible practices too. Thank you, Natasha, for speaking out. That's brave. I don't know what it takes, every time someone has to speak out in a new forum. It's still hard, even if it's not your real name and things. And I tell you what happens as well on YouTube. I've seen sick things when someone has spoken out publicly and on YouTube or like video, and J-Dubs come on and say that they are lying. That's what they do. They don't know anything about the circumstances and they say they're lying. Wow. Can you imagine the hardness of heart that must take, all the training? Because they're not born like it. They don't go into a religion going, or from outside going, oh, I fancy being really cruel and hard of heart. No, they can go in with good hearts. And what is happening? What is happening once people get inside, or once they're born inside? That their hearts and their minds can be calcified, ossified. Right, into some posh words now. What's Mandy saying? Great article, and my heart goes out to these women. See, that's a normal start. Even if you want to say, well, I've got some problems with this, and that court case proved otherwise. But the first thing you say is, my heart goes out, or something like that. No, don't get it from a J-Dub. Being a domestic violence abuse survivor, at the hands of a Jehovah's Witness, and that's common. Trust me, the way the elders ridiculously handle sexual abuse cases is the same way they handle physical, emotional, verbal abuse. To hear some of the elders' responses to the poor victims in the story: yeah, you provoked him, you need to be more submissive, you are too independent, you don't want to bring reproach on Jehovah's name, so don't talk about it. There's a terrible story, it's called Wolves Among Sheep. It's from that Bible quote. Guy's got like a unusual Polish name. A woman and her 2 children were murdered by her husband because the elders wouldn't support and kept saying it was her fault and she had to be with this husband. And her first husband, who was the father of the 2 children, wrote a book about it. I'm going to read that again and review it. It's a must read of how the organisation works with abused women and abused families. I even can relate to the horrible and traumatic feeling of having to face my abuser in a worthless meeting where he was to be given the chance to defend himself against my accusations of abuse, shaking my head. Sad to see the same scenario goes on in many other kingdom halls, and that the uneducated elders continue to ruin others' lives unapologetically. Well, Mandy, that's great. It sounds like you've obviously... Oh, it's quick that you've replied, sorry. It sounds like you're someone who has moved out and gone on with it, but that won't have been easy. So, what's John saying? Yes, every religion asserts their innocence, okay? It's a smart move as it protects them against frivolous lawsuits. But it's not a loving move. You see, that's the thing that concerns me. What about the love? Because you're not supposed to be talking about a business. You see what I mean? You're supposed to be talking about a religion. And the claim of, in Christianity, of a Christian religion is the love. That was Jesus's instruction. That was the sign that you know that they're from him. Where's the love in all this? And if you're certain innocence, when you have, as Watchtower, tens of thousands of documents on file of the known abusers, so they're lying when they assert innocence. That's not on. That's not on. And it's the lies as well that really get people. If an organisation would just simply hand out money, this guy is big on his money, isn't he? Money, 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 money. Wow. Well, why have they got so much money? Why do they need so much money? Is it about faith and love and changing hearts? Why do they need... Well, they're doing that. Why do they need so much money? If they're handing out money, it means they've got it in the first place. It's interesting. Claims will be looking for a handout. See, and that's also a very loaded language, handouts. Work I've done for disabled people who need monies so they can basically go to the loo and be washed, about basics. There are laws in place that allow some extra funding so carers can come in, and people call them handouts. Well, I tell you what, mate, we'll paralyse you from the neck down, and we'll see how much, if you'll call it a handout or a balance in society. Plus, that money's used to employing people. I'm going off the subject. I want to talk about loaded language, and when people use language like that, you can see where their background is in their head. By them fighting this way, only legitimate claims make it. No. I'm going to stop again to scream. Hang on. I've made myself another cuppa. I'm feeling a bit hot. I'm a bit hot and bothered. Okay. The ignorance, the demonstrable ignorance, okay? And let me prove this to you. The sentence that got me, because I just glanced through, I didn't look at the actual meat and potatoes of the thing. Now, this is this false claim. By them fighting this way, only legitimate claims make their way into courtrooms. No. And they're saying that a vigorous legal process, a robust legal process. And it has been shown, because of the Watchtower fighting back, it goes on for years. They're saying that weeds false claims out. Categorically, I can tell you that it doesn't. It does not. For a start, they're talking about, all this is the focus on money, 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 money. And it should be God's love, God's love, God's love, protect the children, try and heal, help, support those who have been damaged. Do you know what a difference it makes when someone who has done something bad to someone looks and realizes and says, I am sorry. And I've bawled my eyes out when that's been said to me, because it's so powerful when someone takes that step to go that far. Now I'm going to use again this example of disabled people and this sort of reasoning. What was happening in Britland is they decided to completely slash all the disability benefits. And we're talking about benefits that allowed people to go to work, because it was very costly to go to work. Some people could only work with extra helpers, with extra equipment. And that was to fund that. And they just slashed all the money. And so people were being left, for 2 days in their own waste. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not exaggerating. Believe you me, I was at the sharp end of this. This is proof after proof. This isn't my opinion. Okay. And this is something I've been fighting for years. I really know about this, and it's recorded everywhere. Way before I started with the J-Dub probs. What happened was they were saying, okay, well, this is to weed out false claims, because real ones will take it further and go through the legal process. But that doesn't happen. Because the more legitimate your claim, the harder it can be to go through that process. Is anyone getting this? Is anyone getting it? So if we look at the parallel situation, someone who's severely disabled and if they have a physical problem, chances are there could be a lot of depression, anxiety that's going to come with different restrictions, or someone could be disabled through mental health problems. So you're saying someone, and we're also talking about people who are dying. If you were set to live more than 6 months, then yeah, you're included in all this. And I've known many, many people who have died through that legal process. And I've known, sadly, many people who have actually suicided because of the process. And I am in national papers talking about this. So this isn't something I've just pulled out of my, as Vinnie V would say, it pulled out my ass. Okay? And talking about someone who's been sexually abused, they may not have spoken about this before. They may not even be able to be getting treatment at the moment. They are putting themselves in an exhausting situation. And that doesn't mean, by the way, that anyone who has seen it through to the end, that means they, alternately, they haven't been abused or anything. No. They are more the exceptions, because the difficulty, the fragility. So actually, what's happened with the disability case, and if you're going to go that there are loads of fraudsters, which again, I can't remember the statistics, but someone can look them up. The statistics of false child abuse allegations are minuscule. I don't want to, I've got a figure in my head, but I can't verify at the minute to look. You guys can look it up. I don't want to say something that's false. So it's going to be so hard to go through years of that and being cross-examined on, and it's already happened with the elders. You get asked, what were you wearing? How were you moving? How did you feel? Have you ever had a boy touch you before? Sick. And you expect someone to be able to go through the ignorance that you think, oh, well, only a legitimate person will go through. No, if the people that were faking disabilities, which again, that was very statistically very low, it was, according to the government, 0.07% were faking it. For that, loads of people died. Yeah. Of course, if you're putting a frivolous claim, you've got no emotional investment. You can just go ahead and keep lying. And if that without integrity, you're just going to keep going and doing it. So you're just pulling this out your ass, okay? And I'm really aware of the difficulties for anyone going through the legal system. So, John, you stink again. I don't get very mature, but Rhodey Withers already says, interesting preoccupation on frivolous lawsuits. Yeah, this typical J-Dub. Notice all the support for the real lawsuits, because they are saying there are real ones. Did you see any words of comfort support? No, because he doesn't give a damn. And he's saying this, and an absence of understanding and empathy regarding the heart-rending examples of abuse outlined in the article. Yep, that's some. If you go on the ARC, you can hear people talking. Faye says I presume that's Watchtower, they had a huge magazine article about the Catholic Church's child sexual abuse. For an organisation that claims to have and speak truth, they should be exposing their own dirt instead of hiding it under the carpet and still claim it does not exist. Just like the Catholic Church could not prevent it from coming to light, JWs have to face the fact their lying days are numbered. Thank you, Faye. Great. Peter. Okay, yeah, I've got a agenda people who don't agree with me. But that's based on facts and listening and seeing and observing both sides. Since 1993, all accusations of abuse are turned into the secular authorities by the JWs. However, to be disfellowshipped, the person must confess or there must be two witnesses based on ecclesiastical canon. People muddy the waters between secular law and religion. Just because a Catholic or Hindu person murdered someone, drove drunk and killed someone, or sexually abused a family member doesn't mean they can't be Catholic or Hindu, etc. Furthermore, if a priest or clergyman, like a lawyer or doctor, divulge confidential information, STDs, drug addiction, sexual issues, etc., they would be on the hook for a lawsuit themselves. Sorry, society doesn't put scarlet letters on people with a big A or a big P or whatever. Cases the Watchtower Society has settled or lost since 1970, 93 cases the 93 cases the Methodist Church has settled or lost, 2,871. Not seeing an epidemic here. No, you're comparing apples and pears. I mean, I was nearly went in shock that someone actually came up with some statistics, but actually that's false, because you'd have to then know, okay, which countries are you talking about? What are the numbers of actual, baptized or authorized members of each group? So you're again talking about percentage. I mean, how many people does the Methodist Church? If they've got X amount of parishioners, a lot more than the J-Dubs, because the J-Dubs, don't forget, they're still a small religion. They know it's a squeeze of people are in there, but they're a small religion. So we need to look at, I say, percentages. We also need to look at the culture within those churches. So what pressure, undue influence is brought to bear, if any, within those churches? Well, we do entirely know, because there are, as I've already said, all these reports, and they are documented legally. People have said these things under oath around the globe. The risk of disfellowshipping, the fact of bringing reproach on Jehovah's name. People were even, you're talking about a period as well, whatever your name is, Peter, you're talking about a time as well when the victims were told not to go to psychologists, were told not to get medical help, because people outside would find out and it would bring reproach on Jehovah's name. This isn't just urban myth. These are documented facts, okay? And I don't know where the Methodist Church stood in the league table of shitty responses to raped and abused children. I don't know where the Methodists stood, but the Jehovah's Witnesses were number 10. Wow. Not seeing an epidemic here. Well, you know what? So even if those stats were true, 93, who cares about 93 people? Because it wasn't 2,000 people. Let's just forget what's actually, let's not talk about what's happening to those 93. Have they received help? Has the church paid for support? Have they, have they been loving and kind? Let's just forget about it, because all they are, you see, all these people, all these crying children, these damaged crying children, they're just numbers. 93 of them. Ah, it doesn't matter, does it? Doesn't matter. The issue of priest clergymen, this seems to still being worked. I must stop waving my hands around. This is still being worked out in the courts as to whether there's clergy privilege that's trying to be taken away legally in some countries. So this is an ongoing thing. There is also a big difference, though, in the fact, and let's say the Catholic Church has done this, where it's like, oh, just move them around. And Watchtower have done that. They have moved around known pederasts, and their files have gone with them to the next elders, but only the elders see it, saying, yeah, did this, did that. But the Catholic priests had horrendous access, especially when there were orphanages, some of the homes for disabled children. They were really able to do terrible things there. Jehovah's Witnesses are going to people's doors. Think about it. It doesn't take a genius to figure out why there's a particular alarm bell for that. But hey, 93, who cares about them? Well, you know what? One is a shame. Just as one is society, the whole of society, not what they call themselves the society, it's the whole of society's shame. And it's our shame if we don't do something. It's our shame. And if we don't protect children, what do we care? What do we care about? If we don't protect them, what do we care about? Nothing else is going to matter. If we don't protect someone who's totally dependent like that. Oh, he's going on again. What does he say? All schools, churches, non-profits, etc. will always have issues like that. Well, they will, darling. While people like you go, point there, point there, point there. They will issues. And okay, you're not going to be able to stop pederasts. It seems that they're born that way. They just got something that happens in their brain. Some say that I'm like that and I don't act on it. I don't know if there needs to be more treatment that way. I do not know. But if there's people like that, then we have a responsibility. There's drunk people will drive while they're drunk. And we'll never be able to stop people driving while they're drunk. But guess what? We do something about it, the best that we can. Oh, I've only got some more here. My city school district has an average 150 incidents a day with sexual impropriety of a student body of 42,000. But what's the point? When something's happening in my backyard, whoa. Yeah, I'm going to say something. It's something in your backyard. Something's happening in your religion. Something's happening in your school. You've got the perfect opportunity because you're inside. You have a good voice. So, no, Mr. Apologist, talking at ya, ass. I'm going to have to learn, I can't say ass. Arse is better. Arse means your bottom. Dave, the responsibility and accountability of the JW... God, and I go on. JW, it is true, Canadian legal department and Bethel higher-ups is laid bare and plain for all to see with their incompetence, faulty protocol and pathetic bumbling policy in grossly mishandling child sexual abuse. Thank God and thank goodness for this exposure and demonstrating the aiding and abetting with complicity as accessories and accomplices to perpetuate the insidious and egregious problem of child abuse. There are recordings, BBC has them, of Watchtower's legal department in New York saying, just leave it. Don't do anything. When someone has rung, child's been abused, they've got the recording. I'd leave it. Jehovah will bring it out. And I've said in a previous video, at least once, Jehovah is bringing it out, you big dummkopfs. I don't know what a dummkopf is. Be careful what you wish for, mate, because it's happening. Christian Melissa and all the victims are truly courageous in coming forward, and I hope they don't read the Apologists. Please don't, and please don't think that the rest of us will think like this. I'm sure you don't. They're courageous and coming forward with their own stories as victims of child abuse. Christian, what a gentle, gentle soul on his on his wife's videos. I mean, can't you just love them? Just want to adopt them. I'd adopt them. Can I adopt you, Christian character? They're gorgeous, gentle souls. They don't rant and rave like I do. Much nicer. I mean, someone goes, oh no, they've got to prove it, go to the court. I don't know how this phone works. It's hopping about. I'm getting hotter. Gonna have a swig of me stuff. I should be drinking chamomile tea and not coffee. The caffeine's not going to help, is it? Thanking them for speaking out against covered-up child abuse and negligence within the Watchtower organisation that's been hushed and swept under the rug by an antiquated, archaic two-witness rule in an age of DNA, CSI technology, and scientific advancements in the hands of law enforcement to help clarify for prosecution evidence, establishment of guilty ones, as well as to exonerate innocent ones falsely accused. What JW is doing inside congregations regarding internal tribunal policies is one thing. It's an entirely and wholly different matter when an insidious, life-altering criminal allegation has occurred. It truly is core-rocking to be taught, told, and sold the idea under a Bible study, the concept of this supposedly being God's organization, yet having a pervasive, systematic, problematic issue of a perverted nature that devastates victims for life. This is the victim's platform to make impact statements initially, and if proven correct and guilty, I hope they get the lawsuit won. And I say this as a 25 years still in JW to let each victim know, indeed, every one of these wonderful people, family and brothers and sisters here, that this one on the inside cares for you and loves you and supports you, and am outraged at Watchtower leadership for allowing perpetuation of this insidious problem when it could have been resolved and rectified decades ago, and all the children who could have been not have to go through this. How many lives could have not been devastated? It's evil. Rectified decades ago by protocol elevation from an organisation that commands us to stand firm and direct and lead others to the group as they've claimed to be, ascribing to the pinnacle of the highest standards of Christian morality. Oh, that makes sense because it's Dave in Wisconsin. Yeah, he's good at his comments. That makes sense. That was from him. Well, there's room to post new ones, my dears. There's room to make reply. If no one's listening at this stage, but I had to get it out. I can't let this blooming evil just be left there on a screen without some response. And I know others are going to make very cogent arguments, unemotional ones, fact, all calm, and that's great. That's great. That's very productive. But I can't always do that. There's still loads of space, and don't forget they will perhaps be printing stuff, putting stuff in the printed edition. And this is a chance to get this out and keep telling the truths to a wider group of people who may not realize this. Right. Whatever. I've been seeing some comments. Now, I did a video just the other day about, responding to J-dubs with love. And bottom line, I mean, I'm not going to go and attack people, be hateful apostates. And no. I've been campaigning against child abuse long before I knew the J-dubs were doing it. So people go, it's just because you don't like J-dubs. No, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't even make sense. But, I've lost my train of thought. I know I was talking about, loving the J-dubs, seeing ex-JW, the UK, going, I mean, he's suffering very much from loss of family. What, comes over such a gentle, calm and reasoning soul. So, you know, and very genuine, talking, with love and calmness, and openness to the sisters at the cart. And great example. And yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go up to a car renting and things. And I'm not saying anything against anyone who does, by the way, because there's a place for everything. It's just not something I'd be good at. In a debate situation, it'd be different. But you can't debate with them. You're not in a debate situation with them. But can I say to JW, sometimes you make it very hard to love you. You know what I'm saying? My spirit is willing, but sometimes you guys make it really hard to love you. Can you see what I'm saying? Make it easy to love you, but you should be lovable. Most people are lovable. I mean, I'm going to draw the line at certain people, but most people are. Don't make it so hard for us. Be kind. Bye.